Greetings everyone, my name is Didi Nurcahya. I'm from Didi Consulting, an IT consultancy firm, auditing firm based in Jakarta, Indonesia. We provide consultancy, advisory, and auditing services to our clients all around Southeast Asia and APAC, Australia Pacific. We perform assessments, audits, and report preparations for all of our clients in their preparation to be able to operationally conduct their business in Indonesia with regards to the IT security aspect. So we have been 5 years in Jakarta, and now I, as one of the managing partners, would like to present a topic which is a very hot and a trend right now. It's called cybersecurity in the middle of COVID-19 situation. So as we can see on the slide here, the first one, that you might already be aware of the Spanish influenza, which happened in 1918 and 1919. You can see there's waves that come in and therefore had impacted a lot of millions of lives. So in 2004, a guy named John Barry provided a quote such as, "In 1918, fear moved ahead of the virus like a bow wave before a ship." So we never know what's going to happen in our business, and the fact that the virus is unpredictable. It came in waves, twice, even third time. Here you can see the comparison between various viruses which you have already known. SARS-CoV-1, which originated in China and it spread out in 2002. We can look at the death rate is around 9.5%, and then 10 years later we have MERS, right? The Middle East respiratory system virus happened in 2012 with higher fatality rate there, 34%. And obviously we have currently the pandemic that is currently going around the world right now, in your country, in my country, in everyone's territory. It's the SARS-CoV-2, or what's originally called COVID-19. Now the fatality rate is around 6.73%, not so bad relatively to the first SARS-CoV and then also MERS. And we also have the seasonal flu, such as the virus that we got from our body when we have temperature rise and so forth. So you can see in the next slide that the preparation in lots of countries are very minimal here. Even the top developing countries such as USA, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, UK, they all are struggling in order to contain this pandemic in their own country. So only a few are able or successful in at least mitigating the risks that happen from the virus, which results in lesser number of people dying. So let me take you through to this cybersecurity world and how coronavirus actually relates to security threats. I've picked a ransomware as an example of a security threat. Here you can see the similarities between the two, right? In terms of the spread, in terms of the impact, how we prevent, and how we actually can detect before it actually happened. COVID-19 are very contagious. Some people develop no symptoms at all. Similarly, in our security environment, in your office, in your company, most infected systems are doing nothing. They do not tell you that they are being infected. Sometimes they're in dormant for a few weeks, sometimes even months, until that virus attacks. Then you would know, oh, my computer has been under threat from a ransomware. The impact of COVID-19 is deadly. As you can see from the previous slides, you have fatality as a result of the coronavirus, and most people have their respiratory systems no longer the same after being infected. And similarly, in our business, we can have our our strategy being disrupted significantly. Now, COVID-19, as per September, there was no vaccine, but now we already know that vaccines has already been developed. As for ransomware, there is no effective signatures for all malware. Malware always develop. Signatures will need to be updated as we go along. In detecting COVID-19, we use several tools, as you may know, the rapid test and swab test. Rapid test may not be accurate, but then again, similarly in our business environment, IT only knows the ransomware that are reported. Nobody else can detect it. So, COVID-19 and cyber attacks. Recently, pundits were predicting that remote working would displace office life within the next 5 or 10 years, give or take a few years. Well, welcome to the future. The COVID-19 pandemic has pushed up the timetable for the future, from telemedicine to food delivery services. Perhaps this push is nowhere more evident than in our own homes, where knowledge workers have now set up provisional offices in their spare rooms, dining rooms, even basement. This time last year, about 1 in 6 employees work from home. And guess what? Today, how many? The number is a lot closer to 5 out of 6. So, adjusting to life in the post-coronavirus would have been challenging on many levels, particularly for businesses. The entire industries have disappeared overnight. Businesses are struggling to stay productive and connected with a workforce that's now moved from regional hubs to thousands of individual homes. The sudden change has left businesses asking themselves the hard questions. How do we get business applications and data into the hands of people who need them? How do we scale our remote solutions to serve not only 16% of our employees but 96%? And most importantly, how do we protect our business communications and sensitive business data now that everyone is working outside the safety of our network firewall? It's a sobering truth that the coronavirus has caught most businesses unprepared for the fully remote workforce. Unsecured access to cloud applications, personal devices with weak passwords, and connectivity across a patchwork of secure and non-secure networks has exacerbated the already serious problem of cyber attacks. But perhaps the most pressing scale problem for businesses right now is the fact that they have to be depending on the existing VPN solution. So, however, in reality, a fully remote workforce is exactly what will push out most VPN solutions past the breaking point. So you can see, working from home will become very normal post-pandemic, and most of us will have to consider re-establishing our office space in order to accommodate that situation. Cybercriminals become more active during the pandemic. It is true. We have a stats from FBI that the cyber attacks jumped up very high, 400% during this pandemic. You can imagine that's 400 times the current normal amount of cyber attacks. And I also have some figures from recent study that there's 273% rise in large-scale data breaches in the first quarter of 2020. And during the 2020, we also have 217% rise in DDoS attacks, or what's called distributed denial of service attacks during the pandemic. We also have 109% increase in ransomware attacks. And lastly, there's 400% increase of cybersecurity complaints during the pandemic. Amazing, isn't it? Now, I want to take you through to the top 5 cybersecurity risks when you work from home. Okay, there's 5 top ones here that you need to be particularly careful of. First one being, internet access become far more dangerous, right? There's lack of protection to filter the malicious websites, lack of security protection against malware downloading, and of course, virus spread between home devices. And it's a lot easier as you have mobile phones, tablets, TV connected to the internet, and so forth. Number 2, home router is also full of vulnerabilities. Why? Because we often put weak password for our Wi-Fi. Who here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for their Wi-Fi password? Or even your home address or your home phone number. Secondly, hardware and software vulnerabilities are in place because you don't perform regular update in your home router. And therefore, it's easier for cyber criminals to hack into your home network. 3, attempts of phishing, and this happens very, very often. Hackers use COVID-19 situation to phish and to do online fraud since the outbreak. They pretend to be an administrator to upgrade your account. They pretend to be your team leader, asking for sensitive data. And the stats is really, really shocking. They are targeting homes. It used to be 12%. Now it's 60%. 60%. So employees with weak cybersecurity awareness are having a hard time to distinguish the real and fake emails, right? When they encounter these kind of phishing attacks. And therefore, when you are uneducated, then you are being attacked by a phishing attempt. 4, personal devices access to office network. Now remember, when you work from home, you connect your own personal computer to the office network. Your personal computer may have already been infected. Once it's connected to the office network, the threat now transmits from one point to another. And we also do not know. There is also unknown account access to office networks. There's also shadow access to corporate IT. And the last one of the cybersecurity risks for working from home is the data leakage. We've seen so many events in the media, breaches of data that happen in big companies. There's a lot of thousands of user accounts, username, passwords being released without permission. So when you save your corporate materials on the cloud, it's not entirely secure. Hackers might search for personal documents from cloud storage provider. And remember, they can use instant message to transfer documents, which then gives you vulnerabilities for sensitive data. Who here uses WhatsApp, Line, WeChat, and so forth from their laptop in their office network? It will increase the data leakage risk. So there you go, folks. Those are the top 5 cybersecurity risks for working from home. Now, during a breach, time is a very critical factor. So 1 in 4 risk of a major breach in the next 24 months, right? You have very early detection results in low impact. But as you go further, very late in detecting your threat during the breach, then the higher impact it is for your organization. As interesting stats here, you have 197 days of industry average detection time for a breach. So that's almost like half a year. And that's very long duration. Very sad and very pathetic. However, we need to be able to decrease the detection so that we can action as early as possible, because we do not want to have a big cost as a result of this data breach. Okay, so how do we then work securely from home? Let me give you 3 tips, very simple. And this is what we are and we have been waiting for since the beginning. 3 simple tips where you can work safely from home. 1, obviously, is security awareness training. So you need to provide your company from management level to staff level awareness and education of security. Such as what? Be aware of malicious websites. Look out for phishing emails. Keep your home office devices and network devices up to date. Tell them to use dedicated computer for working. Teach them to be cautious before downloading software that might include virus. And stop uploading documents on the cloud and using instant messaging such as WhatsApp, Line, WeChat to transfer documents. So that's 1. Providing that level of awareness, that level of education will then have your employees and your management to think that security is important. And these are the steps, simple steps that they can take in order to reduce the risk of working from home. Number 2 is access control and cyber attacks prevention. So how do we do that? There's a lot of ways of doing that. Let me give you an example. The first one being you limit your account and hardware access to the office network. Secondly, you can disable the RDP protocol access to your office network. You use VPN when accessing any of the organization's file servers. Also, you can install an endpoint prevention to your home office PC. And lastly, use network security devices to prevent attacks from remote worker. And the third way in order to work securely from home is you continuously detect threat and respond to it. So we want to have a comprehensive protection everywhere, detection of the known and the unknown threats. And you want to have latest and relevant global threat intelligence, being able to respond to security events in a timely manner. As I said, this diagram summarizes everything. We should have a comprehensive protection everywhere in order to prevent. And in order to detect, we have to distinguish between the known threats and unknown threats. And being able to predict means we have the latest and relevant global threat intelligence, while responding meaning we are reacting and taking actions in a very timely manner, not so late. Okay? Now, these are some of the topologies or architecture that you can deploy in your office environment when dealing with working from home as a result of this pandemic. You have the public internet, you have the firewall, you have the DMZ or the dematerialized zone, you have the VPN GW in the middle, which connects to the VPN and then connects to your data center. And the remote users will have to go through that gateway in order to bypass and enter inside the critical network of your company. So you have to have centralized remote user authentication and management. Also keeping control of your employee access privileges in your enterprise network. And don't forget, secure remote employee by having integrated endpoint and next generation firewall defense. So, conclusion. So what do we learn so far? So, cybersecurity is much more like human immune system. Like, for example, we have to go have enough sleep, digest food, do some sports, and that will increase our immune system, which is consisting of skin, respiratory systems, stomach, your white blood cells. Similarly, in our corporate environment, we have cybersecurity. You have physical security, perimeter and network security, applications, data security, and the mission critical assets as the core of it all. And cybersecurity protects them all, whether using proactive or reactive. Proactive meaning using your policy management, and reactive meaning you keep monitoring and responding in a very timely manner. So that's all for me, folks. I hope this presentation on cybersecurity for COVID-19 situations is useful for your company, for your organization, for your staff, and for everyone else in this harsh pandemic world. So keep safe, stay healthy, and remember, cybersecurity is an important key role and crucial in the middle of this pandemic COVID situation and the era of digitalization. So keep in mind of cybersecurity tools, processes, and of course people. You can always contact your local IT consultant, your IT advisory in IT security world, cybersecurity, and get them to improve, get them to improvise, get them to control, get them to make sure that all the assets, the data information in your company are well protected and are all safe. We want to have the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data always on top notch. That's all from me. Thank you and keep safe.